This story is called The Secret Path. It's written by a man called Nick Butterworth, and it's about Percy the Park Keeper. There's a whole series of his books. And Percy has lots of friends who live in the park with him, and he looks after the maze, like we found at Warwick Castle when we went there. And one day, he and his animal friends have a little bit of an adventure in the maze. This book starts with a poem, which I'll read to you first. In leafy green hedges, the doorway was wide. You looked and you wondered, and then stepped inside. The puzzling pathways took you along. A turn to the right turned out to be wrong. But when all that seemed left turned out to be right, you entered the centre, a wonderful sight. But now comes the hard part, to find the right track, to retrace your steps, the secret path back. The maze is a trickster, of that there's no doubt. The maze let you in, but it won't let you out. So, The Secret Path by Nick Butterworth. I know, it's a shame, said Percy, the park keeper, to his small friend. Percy had been looking after a young squirrel who'd fallen out of a tree and hurt his arm. And I bumped my nose on Thursday, went on the squirrel. I see, said Percy, who wasn't really giving the squirrel his full attention. Percy was busy searching for something. Aha, here it is, said Percy. String, we'll need this today. As Percy and the squirrel trundled their way across the park, they didn't notice a group of friends hiding behind a large tree. I've been meaning to fix up this old maze for ages, said Percy. The hedges are terribly overgrown. Percy's going to work on the maze, said the fox. Let's race him there and have some fun, said the badger, and he began to whisper excitedly. The others squeaked with delight as they listened. Only the hedgehog wasn't so sure. He found the maze rather confusing. I don't think I'll come, he said. I've got something else to do. Percy parked his wheelbarrow by the entrance to the maze. Aren't you worried about getting lost in the maze? The squirrel asked. Well, that's why I need the string, said Percy. I'll leave a trail of string from where I'm working back to the entrance of the maze. That way I can't get lost, you see. The squirrel really didn't see because he wasn't really listening. Not sure if I like spring or autumn best, said the squirrel. At the back of the maze, a line of animals was disappearing one by one into a thick hedge. We'll go right to the middle and wait for Percy, whispered the badger. Then we'll jump out and give him a big surprise, giggled the rabbits. Shh, said the fox, which set them all giggling again. Percy worked hard with his hedge clippers, and little by little the maze began to look much tidier. All the time, Percy followed his string in and out of the maze. By now, the surprise party had made its way to the centre of the maze, where there stood a stone bench. The bench had been carved to look like a lion. At first, the animals waited eagerly for Percy to come, but Percy took longer than they expected. Soon they began to yawn, and they all fell asleep. Percy's hedge clippers clacked on and on, only stopping now and then when Percy went to dump a barrow load of clippings. As Percy pushed his empty wheelbarrow back towards the maze, a hedgehog called to him. Hello, Percy! Did you get a big surprise from the animals in the maze? A big surprise, said Percy. He stopped and smiled. Not yet, he said. When at last Percy and the squirrel worked their way to the centre of the maze, there was no big surprise waiting for them. Percy chuckled at the sight of the sleeping animals in front of him. "Let's have some fun ourselves," he whispered. Percy tiptoed to the back of the lion-shaped bench and coughed loudly. "I beg your pardon," said Percy, in a deep growly voice. The fox opened one eye. "It's not that I mind so very much," went on Percy, "but I do like people to ask before they go to sleep on me." The other animals began to stir. The fox stared at the lion's head. He couldn't believe his ears. "Oh, I'm very sorry," said the fox. "We didn't realise. We thought you were just a seat." The other animals opened their eyes in amazement to hear the fox talking to a lump of stone. They were even more amazed when the stone answered back. "Did you, indeed?" said the growly voice. "Ha! Just a seat." "Oh, we're very sorry," said the fox. Will you tell us your